Doom, ba-da-doom, ba-da-doom. Ba-da-da-da-doom, ba-da-doom, ba-da-doom. Ba-da-da-da-doom, ba-da-doom, ba-da-doom, ba-da-doom. Ba-da-da-da-doom, ba-da-doom, ba-da-doom. Aren't you something to admire? 'Cause your shine is something like a mirror, and I can't help but notice you reflect in this heart of mine. If you ever feel alone and the glare makes me hard to find, just know that I'm always parallel on the other side. 'Cause with your hand in my hand and a pocket full of soul, I could tell you there's no place we couldn't go. Just put your hand on the glass, I'll reach out and pull you through. You just gotta be strong. I don't wanna lose you now. I'm looking right at the other half of me. The vacancy that's set in my heart is a space, and now you're home. Show me how to fight for now. And I tell you, baby, it was easy coming back into you once I figured it out. You were right here all along. It's like you're my mirror, my mirror staring back at me. I couldn't get any bigger with anyone else beside of me. And now it's clear as it's promised that we're making two reflections into one. 'Cause it's like you're my mirror, my mirror staring back at me, staring back at me.
Yesterday is history. Tomorrow's a mystery. I can see you looking back at me. Keep your eyes on me, baby. Keep your eyes on me.
I don't wanna lose you now. I'm looking right at the other half of me. The vacancy inside of my heart is a space that now you hold.
Show me how to fight for now.
I
Tell you, baby, it was easy coming back into you once I figured it out. You were right here all along. It's like you're my mirror, my mirror staring back at me. I couldn't get any bigger with anyone else beside of me. And now it's clear as it's promised that we're making two reflections into one. 'Cause it's like you're my mirror, my mirror staring back at me, staring back at me.
Cause it's like you're my mirror.
How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times that made us laugh outweigh the bad. I thought we'd get to see forever, but forever's gone away. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. I don't know where this road is going to lead. All I know is where we've been and what we've been through. If we get
to see tomorrow.
I hope it's worth all the wait. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. And I'll take with me the memories to bring my sunshine after the rain. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. And I'll take with me the memories to bring my sunshine after the rain. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday.
Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I've never had before, no. And I just gotta tell you right now that I really do believe that something's got a hold on me, yeah.
Oh, it must be love.
Oh, someone's got a hold on me right now, child.
Oh, it must be love.
Let me tell you now, I've got a feeling, I feel so strange. Everything about me seems to have changed. Step by step, I got a brand new walk. I even sound sweeter when I talk. I said, oh. I said, baby, oh, must be love.
Oh, it must be love.
Let me tell you now, something's got a hold on me, yeah.
Oh, it must be love.
Oh, something's got a hold on me right now, child.
Oh, it must be love.
Let me tell you now, I've never felt like this before. Something's got a hold on me and won't let go. I believe I'd die if I only could. I feel so strange, but it sure feels good. I said, I said, baby, oh, must be love.
Oh, it must be love.
Hey, yeah, it must be love.
When I was a little girl, I used to think ways to kill my daddy. I would figure out this way or that way and run it through my head till it got easy. The way I liked best was letting go of poison spider instead. It'd bite him and he'd be dead and all swollen up. Of course, I called the rescue squad and I told them, come quick, something's the matter with my daddy. And when they got to the house, I'd be in a state of shock. I'd stand by the door and act up, my body shaking all over. But I didn't kill my daddy. He drank himself to death a year after the county moved me out. Next thing I know, he's in the ground. All I did was wish him dead real hard, and every now and then. And I can tell you for a fact, my life is better off now than it ever was when he was alive. I live in a clean brick house, and I'm mostly left to myself. When I start to carry an odor, I take a bath, and people tell me how sweet I look. 2 years ago, I didn't have much of anything. I figure I made out pretty good considering the rest of my family is either dead or crazy. Every Tuesday, a man comes and gets me out of social studies, and he tells me I'm scared. I used to be, but I'm not now is what I tell him. But I do remember when I was scared. Everything was so wrong, like somebody had knocked something loose and was shaking my family to death. She couldn't help getting sick, but nobody made her marry him. She didn't have a good heart. Sometimes she'd come home from the hospital
And he led on to her right away. He sat up in his easy lounger like he was the king of the day. "Get in the kitchen and fix me something to eat," it's the first thing he said to her. Nobody yells after anybody here. My new mama lays out the food, and we all take turns dishing it out. I keep my elbows off the table and wipe my mouth like a lady. When everybody's done eating, my new mama takes up the dishes, puts them in a thing, shuts the door and cuts it on, and voila, they're clean. But my mama, she doesn't say a word about being tired or sore. She does ask who keeps the house clean, and he takes all the credit. I don't know who he thinks he fooled. I knew he lied, and Mama did too. She just asked to be saying something. Mama puts the food out on the table. "What are you staring at?" As you humped over your food like someone was gonna snatch it from you, you old hog. But I don't say it. "Why don't you eat?" "I don't have an appetite." "Well, you better eat. Tonight could be your mama's last supper." All this time, I look at him and I look at her, and I try to decide on why he hates her so much. And my mama looks like she could crawl under a table and cry. We leave his nasty self at the table and we go to bed. She's bruised up the neck. It makes me want to turn my head. We peel her dress off over her head and slip into something loose to sleep in. I help her get herself laid in bed and I slide in next to her. I don't know if she hears him go outside and get into his truck like he has some business to tend to. But I know he just went to go buy himself something to drink. And the more he drinks, the louder he gets. By the time the dog races start, he's already sprawled out in the bathroom. I get up and go in there. "Get up. Folks gotta come in here to do their business. You go lay out in the truck. Get on up, I say." He zigzags out through the living room and I guess he makes it out the door. There's a storm coming up, and I will lay here next to my mama and watch her chest rise and fall regular and far away from the man in that truck. I can smell the storm and see the clouds and the rain coming. He'll sleep through the thunder and the rain, and oh, how I have my rage and desire for that thunder and lightning to strike a vengeance on him. But I don't control the clouds or the thunder, and how the Lord moves is his business.
The pan was so heavy for me to lift when it was full of water, so I'd put a chair next to the sink, climb up and fill a glass. Then I'd stand on a chair by the stove and pour the water into the pan. I did that over and over again until the pan held enough water. Then I'd turn on the stove, and when the water was boiling, I'd drop in the hot dogs. I was on fire, my earliest memory. I was just 3 years old. I was standing on a chair in front of the stove wearing a pink dress my grandmother had bought for me. Pink was my favorite color. The dress's skirt stuck out like a tutu, and I'd like to spin around in front of a mirror pretending I looked like a ballerina. But at that moment, I was wearing the dress to cook hot dogs. I could hear Mom in the next room singing while she worked on one of her paintings. Juju, her black mutt, was watching me. I stabbed one of the hot dogs again, and I felt a blaze of heat on my right side. I turned to see where it was coming from and realized my whole dress was on fire. Frozen with fear, I watched the yellow-white flames make ragged brown lining up the pink fabric of my skirt and climb to my stomach. Then the flames leaped up, reaching my face. I screamed. I smelled the burning and heard the horrible crackling as the fire singed my hair and eyelashes. Juju was barking. I couldn't stop screaming. Mom ran into the room. "Mommy, help me!" I shrieked. I was still standing on the chair, swatting at the fire with the fork I had been using to stir the hot dogs with. Mom ran out of the room and came back with one of the army surplus blankets. She threw the blanket around me to smother the flames. Dad had gone off in the car, so Mom grabbed me and my younger brother Brian and hurried over to the trailer next to ours. Mom, in an unnaturally calm voice, explained what had happened and asked if we could please have a ride to the hospital. The woman dropped what she was doing and ran straight for her car. When we got to the hospital, nurses immediately put me on a stretcher. They talked in loud, worried whispers while they cut off what was left of my fancy pink dress. Then they picked me up, laid me on a flat, big metal bed piled with ice cubes and spread some of the ice over my body. I heard the doctor telling my mom that it was very serious, that it was too serious. I could tell I was causing a big fuss, and I tried to stay quiet. One of them squeezed my hand and told me I was going to be okay. I know, but if I'm not, that's okay too. The nurse squeezed my hand again and bit her lower lip. I stared for a while at the rows of tiny dots in the ceiling panels. Ice cubes covered my stomach and ribs and pressed up against my cheeks. The nurses and doctors kept asking me questions. How did you get burned? Have your parents ever hurt you? How do you have all these cuts and bruises? My parents never hurt me, I told them. I got the cuts and bruises from playing outside and the burns from cooking hot dogs. They asked me what I was doing cooking hot dogs by myself at the age of 3. It was easy, I said. You just put the hot dogs in the water and boil them. It wasn't like there was some complicated recipe that you had to be old enough to follow. Mom says I'm mature for my age. She lets me cook for myself a lot. 2 nurses looked at each other and one of them wrote down something. I asked what was wrong. Nothing, dear. When my family came to visit, their arguing and laughing and shouting and singing echoed through the quiet halls. The nurses made shushing noises. Everyone always turned and stared at Dad. I couldn't figure out whether it was because he was oh so handsome or because he called people partner and Goomba and slightly threw his head back when he laughed. One day, Dad leaned over the bed and asked, "Are the nurses and doctors treating you okay? Because if they aren't, I'll teach them a lesson." I told him how nice everyone was. "Well, of course they are. They know you're Rex Wall's daughter." "Do you guys miss me?" I asked my older sister, Lori. "Not really. Too much has been happening." "Like what?" "Just normal stuff. Lori may not miss you, honey bunch, but I sure do. You don't deserve to be put in this antiseptic joint." Dad got into an argument with the local doctor. Dad pulled back his fist as if to hit the doctor, who raised his hands and backed away. Before anything could happen, a guard in uniform appeared and told Mom and Dad they had to leave immediately. Afterwards, the nurse asked me if I was okay. "Of course," I said. I told her I didn't care if I had some silly old scar. "Well, that's good, because from the looks of it, I had other things to worry about." A few days later, when I had been in the hospital for about 6 weeks or so, Dad appeared alone in the doorway of my hospital room. He told me we were going to check out, Rex Wall style. "Are you sure that's okay? You just trust your old man." Dad hurried down the hall with me in his arms. A nurse yelled for us to stop, but Dad broke into a heavy sprint. "You don't have to worry anymore, baby. You're safe now." A few days after Mom and Dad brought me home, I cooked myself some hot dogs. I was hungry. Mom was at work on a painting and no one else was there to fix them for me. One time, I went out with a plastic Tinkerbell figurine. I lit a match and held it close to Tinkerbell's face to show her how it felt. Suddenly, her eyes grew wide as if with fear. I realized to my horror that her face was starting to melt. I tried to smooth back her features. Back to the way they had been, but I just made it worse. I wish I could perform some type of skin graft on Tinkerbell, but that would have meant cutting her into millions of little pieces. Even though her face was melted, she was now my favorite toy, mainly because, like me, she knew how it felt, and she knows the pain and suffering I went through that day.
A fly went flying. Bzzz. He was looking for something to eat. Something tasty, something slimy. A boy walking. He was looking for something to catch. Something smart. Something for the amazing pet show. They met. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Buzz. Dee-dee-dee. Buzz. Dee-dee-dee. Buzz. Ah! Ah! A pet! The boy said. The fly was mad. He wanted to be free. He stomped his foot and said, Buzz. The boy was amazed. "You know my name. You are the smartest pet in the world." So he took the fly home. "This is my pet," the boy said to Mom and Dad. "He is smart. Listen. He can say my name." The boy opened the jar, and the fly flew out. Bzz, ta-da! "Boys can't be pets," said Dad. "Boys are pests." He grabbed the fly's water. The fly cried, "Buzz!" And Buzz came to the rescue. "Stop! Stop! 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 Stop!"
You are right, said Dad. This fly is pretty smart. He needs a name, said Mom. Buzz thought for a minute. How about... No. Fly Guy, said Buzz. And Fly Guy said, Buzz. Buzz gave Fly Guy something to eat. Here you go, Fly Guy. Hot dog. Buzz. Fly Guy was happy. Finally, Buzz took Fly Guy to the amazing pet show. The judges laughed. You've got to be kidding me. This is a joke, right? I shouldn't be saying this, people, but flies aren't pets, they're pests, said one of the judges. Well, Buzz was sad. He opened the jar. Shoot, Fly Guy. Flies aren't pets. But Fly Guy liked Buzz, so he did some fancy flying. The judges were amazed. That fly can do tricks. But flies can't be pets, they're pets. Then Fly Guy said, Buzz. The judges were more amazed. That fly knows the boy's name. But flies can't be pets. I mean, come on, they're pests. Then it happened. Fly Guy flew high into the sky. Then he dove down into his jar. Ta-da! The judges were speechless. How? That fly knows the boy's jar. This fly is a pet, so they let Fly Guy into the show. He even won an award. Buzz! And so began a beautiful friendship.
I know girls who are trying to fit into the social norm like squeezing into last year's prom dress. I know girls who are low-rise MAC eyeshadow and binge drinking. I know girls who wonder if they're disaster and sexy enough to fit in. I know girls who are flinging bombs from the mosque of their skin, playing Russian roulette with death. It's never easy to accept that our bodies are fallible and flawed, but where do we draw the line? When the knife hits the skin? Isn't that the same thing as purging because we're so obsessed with death? Some women just have more guts than others. But the thing about women is that we don't shoot. We swallow pills, still wanting to be beautiful at the morgue, still proceeding to put on makeup, still hoping that the mortician finds us lovely and attractive. We might as well be buried with our shoes and scarves and handbags. Girls, we flirt with death every time we etch a new tally mark into our skin. I know how to split my wrist to reveal battlefield too, but the time has come for us to reclaim our bodies. Our bodies deserve to be more than war-torn and collateral, offering the sacrifices of pathetic me to say, I only know how to exist when I'm wanted. Girls like us are hardly ever wanted, you know? We're used up and sad and drunk and lonely and perpetually waiting by the phone for someone to pick up and tell us that we did good. Well, you did good. So try this. Take your hands over your bumpy love body naked and remember the first time you touched someone with the sole purpose of learning all of them. Touch them because the light was pretty on them and the dust and the sunlight danced the same way your heart did. Touch yourself with a purpose. Your body is the most beautiful royal. Fathers and uncles are not claiming your knives anymore, not your razor, no, put the sharpness back. Lay your hands flat and feel the surface of scarred skin. I once touched a tree with charred limbs. The stump was still breathing, but the tops were just ash remains. I wonder what it's like to come back from that. Sometimes I feel a forest fire erupting from my veins, and the smoke seems to send out of some of the most beautiful things that I've ever seen. Love your body the same way your mother loved your baby feet and brother, arm-wrapping shoulders, and remember, this is important. You are worth more than who you love. You are worth more than a waistline. You are worth more than beer bottles displayed like drunken artifacts, more than any naked body could proclaim in the shadows, more than a man's whim or your father's mistake. You are no less valuable as a size 16 than a size 4. You are no less valuable as a size 34A than a 36C. Your sexiness is defined by concentric circles within your wood. Wisdom. You are an exquisite tree stump with leaves sprouting out. Reborn.
By yon bonny banks and by yon bonny braes, where the sun shines bright on Loch Lomond, where me and me true love would ever want to gae, on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond.
Take the high road, and I'll take the low road, and I'll be in Scotland afore ye. But me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. 'Twas there that we parted in yon shady glen, on the steep, steep sides of Lomond, where deep in purple hue the highland hills we view, and the moon coming out in the gloaming. Oh, ye'll take the high road and take the low road, and I'll be in Scotland afore ye. But me and me true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. The wee birdies sing and the wildflowers spring, and in sunshine the waters lie sleeping. But the broken heart will ken a second spring again, and the world knows not how we are
When you speak of a proud man, in your sense of the word, there's something mystical about, I mean, how can one speak of pride? I mean, physiologically, man is delicate, easily broken, and in most cases, coarse, vulgar, incredibly unhappy. In my good opinion, I believe that we should stop speaking so highly of ourselves. We should work. Just work. And what would that look like? To work and work and to die. And what is death? Could it be that man has 100 senses? And only the ones that we know, the 5 that we know of, go with us when we pass. The other 95 continue to experience, to grow. And that only through death can man come into his own power. Thank you.